Okay, in order to kind of shape our mind and frame our thinking in our analysis of economics, what the IB has done is created, or I suppose centered on 6 real world issues that affect the world today. And through studying our theory, we should have a greater opinion based on fact, evidence and logic on how to answer each of these issues. Now, of course, we'll never properly answer each of these issues, always, but what we're trying to do now is to have a more reasoned, informed and rational look at the world by studying our economic theory to have a more informed opinion on these 6 real-world issues. Now, the 6 real-world issues are: first thing is, how do consumers and producers make choices? So we know from scarcity that choices exist, and then we have opportunity costs. So how do these groups, consumers and producers, make choices in trying to meet their economic objectives? Well, essentially what we assume is that consumers are utility maximizers. They want to get the most happiness, which is utility, from consuming goods and services that they can with their limited income. And producers are profit maximizers. They want to reduce costs and increase revenue with a view of making the most profit possible from selling their goods and services to consumers. Now, I've already said that I'm very pro-market, and I have my reasons, and make no apologies for that. So when are markets unable to satisfy important economic objectives? Now, that's a good question. I may be pro something, doesn't mean I think it's perfect. And therefore, can government intervention help? So we'll be analysing these ideas and seeing what side of the coin we fall down on ourselves. But we really should, even though we look at the theory, and the theory is great, it's a perfect way to start off, I feel. But then we have to go to the real world and find evidence to support whether or not this theory is true. Now, why does government activity vary? Why does economic activity vary over time, and why does this matter? That's really important. We're going to talk about the boom and bust cycle and the business cycle, essentially. Okay, and then we're going to say, well, why does this happen? Why can we not just have unprecedented wealth and growth for the rest of our lives? Another issue or question is, how do governments manage their economy? And how effective are their policies? What actions can the government take to increase GDP during a recession or reduce inflation during a boom? And then once we look at essentially the 3 different types of policies, and we say, well, do any of these work? We can look at the theory and say, yeah, okay, that's great, we've got this now, we're sorted. But do any of these work is the question, and that's a question that needs to be answered. Other issues, who are the winners and losers of the integration of the world economy? I do believe that scarcity is a central term of economics, and therefore by engaging in specialization and trade, there is the high potential that countries can be better off. But that's in the aggregate. Are all countries better off? Are all people in each country better off from trade? Who wins and who loses, and why? Magnificent question, magnificent list of questions. And I think for me, and I know I'm giving, I suppose, a subjective and therefore normative statement or opinion here, but why is economic development uneven? I think that, for me, is the most pressing of all economic questions. The lucky thing is that we are in a time, as I record this video in 2021, we are in a time of unprecedented growth. Millions of people are lifted out of poverty every single day. This is a magnificent human achievement that I don't think has ever even come close to happening in the history of mankind. But if we, let's say in the West, where I'm from, and I'm Irish, so we really went through our development far later than the rest of the other Western countries. But if we, let's say in the West, and now, the future seems to be far further, the economic future seems to be far further to the East. But why did certain countries develop economically before others? And that isn't an easy question. Empire could be part of it. Proper government policies could be part of it. Protection of property rights and the use of markets could be part of it. Different issues in terms of lack of geographical issues, like, let's say, lack of earthquakes or lack of wars or so on and so forth. All of these things could be part of it. So these questions, I think, are incredible. I think if you can really have an informed view at the end of your 2 years on these questions, I think you have succeeded in your study of economics. Now, unfortunately for you, I'm not finished yet, because I want you to look at the first 2 questions. How do consumers and producers make choices in trying to meet their economic objectives? And when are markets unable to satisfy important economic objectives, and does government intervention help? Now, I do say Unit 1 here, that's the old one. It is Unit 2, but right now we're doing Unit 1, but still. Okay, and I see the problem continues to exist. So why does economic activity vary over time, and why does this matter? It matters big time. And we have models of why it varies, but we really still don't really know. How do governments manage their economy, and how effective are their policies? All of those are in the macroeconomics, which is the current Unit 3 in the new course. And then the last two, which are who are the winners and losers of integration of the world economies, and why is economic development uneven? They are in Unit 4, which I know I said Unit 3, in the global economy. It's Unit 4 now, okay? So what we have here now are 6 real world issues that we will look through the entirety of the course. And when you're doing, microeconomics, you'll be looking through the first 2. When you're doing macro, you'll be looking through the middle 2. And when you're doing global, you'll be looking through the last 2. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it helped, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing the next one.